Hey everyone and welcome. Today, we are going to dive into something super practical, how to dine out in English. We'll go through everything, right from walking in the door to paying the bill. My goal is that by the end of this, you'll feel way more confident ordering your next meal. So let's get right into it.
So it always starts with that big question, right? Where should we eat? I mean, we've all been there, trying to figure out a place with friends or family, and it can be surprisingly tough when you're trying to balance everyone's different tastes and preferences. Sometimes it's really just a simple preference. You might hear a friend say something just like this, and honestly, it's such a polite, natural way to say you're not in the mood for a certain kind of food. It sounds a lot softer than just saying, I don't like Italian food. Then, of course, you've got the more serious reasons. An allergy is absolutely crucial information when you're picking a restaurant. This phrase, it's perfect. It's polite, it explains the problem really clearly, and it instantly lets your friends know, okay, a seafood place is off the table. And, well, you've got to have the worst-case scenario. A bad experience from the past is definitely a powerful reason to say no thanks to a restaurant. And yet, this is a pretty dramatic example, but it just goes to show how many different things can go into that seemingly simple choice of where to eat.
Okay, so you did it. You picked a restaurant. Awesome. Now, let's walk through the door. The very first step is getting your table. It's super simple, but, knowing the right words just makes everything feel so much smoother.
It really just comes down to these 4 simple steps. You walk in, give a friendly hello, and then you just say how many people are in your group. The magic phrase is, a table for 2, please. Just change the number for your group. Now, if you called ahead, you just say, I have a reservation under the name, and after that, you just follow the host. See? Easy as that.
So you're at your table, you've got the menu in your hands, and now it's time for the main event, ordering your food. Let's break down how to look at that menu so you can order like you've been doing it your whole life.
You'll notice menus are usually split into sections. The first one you'll probably see is for appetizers. Sometimes you'll see them called starters. Just think of these as the opening act, small, tasty little dishes to kick things off before the big meal.
And next up, you've got the main course. This is the star of the show, right? It's the biggest, most important part of your meal. This is the section where you're going to find all the major stuff, the steak, the pasta, the fish, whatever the restaurant is famous for.
Here's a little secret. Even native English speakers don't always know what's in every single dish. So please, never ever be afraid to ask. These simple questions right here are your best friends. Servers are there to help, and they're happy to explain. It's always better to ask than to get something you're not going to love.
Let's circle back for a second to that polite phrasing we talked about. Just look at the difference here. I don't like can feel a little abrupt, a little harsh. But saying I'm not all that crazy about is just a softer, much more natural way to say something's not for you. This works for everything. Food, music, movies, you name it.
Okay, so you've looked at the menu, you've made your decision, it's time to order. And honestly, these phrases right here are all you're going to need. I'll have, can I have, and I'd like are all perfect, polite ways to say what you want. And of course, always tack on a friendly please at the end.
All right, the order is in, the food is on the table, but the conversation isn't quite over yet. You're probably going to have a few more little interactions with your server during the meal. Let's talk about what to expect.
Sometime around the middle of your meal, it's super common for your server to stop by and ask this exact question. They're not trying to interrupt you, they're just quickly checking in to make sure you're happy with your food and to see if you need anything else.
So, how do you answer? Well, if you love it, a simple, everything is great, thank you, is perfect. But what if there's a small problem? You can still be really polite about it. Instead of saying, this tastes bad, try to be specific, like it's a little too salty. That's actually helpful feedback.
And just remember, if you need anything at all while you're eating, more water, some extra sauce, more napkins, don't be shy. A simple and polite, could we get, is the perfect way to ask for whatever you need.
All right, you've had your appetizer, you've enjoyed your main course, maybe you even had dessert. The meal was fantastic. Now it's time for that final step, taking care of the bill.
And just like when we got seated, paying is just a simple 4-step process. First, you just need to get your server's attention. Then, you use this key phrase, could we have the bill please? Always take a quick look to make sure the charges are right, and then decide if you're going to pay with cash or a card. Breaking it down like this really takes away any stress.
Oh, and here's a really quick tip to help you avoid any confusion. You're going to hear 2 words, bill and check. They mean the exact same thing. Check is just a little more common in the United States, while bill is used more often in other places, But really, either one works. Everyone will know what you mean.
Now, let's talk for a second about tipping. In some countries, like the United States and Canada, it's a very common custom to leave a little extra money for good service. You might also hear this called a gratuity. A pretty standard amount is somewhere between 15 to 20% of the total. It's a really good cultural thing to be aware of.
So what happens when you're eating with a big group of friends and everyone wants to pay for just their own meal? This is the phrase you need. You just ask, can we split the bill? Or even, can we pay separately? Most restaurants are totally fine with doing this.
So we've gone through the entire journey, haven't we? From picking a place all the way to paying the bill. Now, let's just talk for a second about how you can take all of this and really build up your confidence for your next meal out.
So here's the most important takeaway from all of this. Don't think of it like a test. Think of every single meal out as a fantastic chance to practice. Every time you order a coffee, every time you sit down for dinner, you're making these skills stronger and more natural. It's basically language learning in the real world, which is the best kind.
And there you have it, your guide to dining out confidently in English. You've got the phrases, you understand the steps, you are ready to go. So I'm going to leave you with this question. With all these new skills, what new food or what new restaurant are you going to go try next? Go have an adventure.